Hi everybody, in this video I want to show you how to do the calculator math that we did yesterday in class. Basically, how do you put scientific notation, big numbers or tiny numbers, into this Google calculator if that's what you have. So I just typed calculator in Google and I've got this. Now I'm going to go to the problem we did yesterday. So we were trying to figure out if we use a grain of salt, which, I should have put miles on there. A grain of salt is 0.3 millimeters on average, or 1.9 times 10 to the negative 7th miles. So it's tiny. A grain of salt's tiny. If we use a grain of salt for the size of the sun, how far away on our model would the next salt grain be if that's the nearest star? So the nearest star is 25 trillion miles, 25 with 12 zeros. And a grain of salt is this many miles, and the sun is 865,000 miles in diameter. So we used these numbers to do some math and figure out, I think when we did this, the next grain of salt was like 5.2 miles away. So the first thing I want to do, let me back out here for a second. I hope you can still see this. Instead of, like, we've got this number in scientific notation. Here's what these numbers are going to look like in the calculator. You've got 865,000. That's an easy number to put in a calculator. How about 1.9 times 10 to the negative 7th miles? How's that going to go in the calculator? Well, it's going to look like this. Let me write it in red. It's going to look like 1.9 e negative 7. And I'm going to recommend that you always put these in parentheses. Put your numbers in parentheses when you're dealing with the Google calculator. So that's the salt grain size is going to look like 1.9 e negative 7. That means 1.9 times 10 to the negative 7th. The distance between the stars, 25 trillion, is going to look like this. 2.5, and that's times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13. So 2.5 E13. That's the same as this huge number right here. So this is what it's going to look like in the actual calculator. Let's go to the next slide. And here's what we'll actually put into the calculator. The model distance is going to be the salt grain size times the real distance between the stars divided by the size of the sun. So we're going to go put these numbers in that calculator. And the trick here is being able to write those numbers in scientific notation with e negative 7, E13. So let's go do that. How do I get back to the calculator? Okay, so when I'm doing this in a calculator, I put everything, each term in parentheses. So we've got 1.9 exponent negative 13. That's one number. Then that's going to be times parentheses 2.5 exponent 13 divided by 865,000. Now you don't always have to put parentheses, but in the denominator, if there's ever exponents, you do. So I just put parentheses around each term to be safe. And then I'm going to hit equals. So by the way, this is how you put this equation into the calculator. And the main thing I'm showing you here is that e, you get the e by hitting this exponent. So then I'm going to hit equals. And that's not the number we got yesterday. And I know why. So automatically I saw that this number looks weird. Let's back that up. I see what I did wrong. See this e negative 13 right here? That was supposed to be e negative 7. So let's just do that again. I wonder if I can back it up one. Oh well. Let's just try that again. 1.9 exponent negative 7 times 2.5 exponent 13 divided by parentheses 865,000 parentheses, and we get 5.49 miles. That was the answer we got. So that's how you do it. I hope that helped a little bit on how to use this calculator. Now, something I'd like to point out as you move on into today's assignment. On our model we made, our scale is 1 to 4.5 trillion. That means, and a better way to write it's like this, 1 to 4.5 E12. That means in our model, you just divide everything by 4.5 E12. You take the real size and divide it by 4.5 E12 to get the model size. So you're dividing everything by this huge number, which means our model is actually really tiny compared to reality. So let's practice. The distance from Earth to Sun is 90 million miles. How far away would that be in our model? So in our model, how far, if a salt grain is the Sun, how far away would the Earth be? We already figured out that the nearest star is 5 miles away between those 2 grains of salt. How far away would the Earth be from the Sun? So this is going to be smaller. And what we have to do is take 90 million miles and divide it by our scale size, 4.5 E12. So just find 90 million divided by 4.5 E12. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to then, that's going to be in miles. We're going to have to convert that number from miles to inches. So let's just go do that. Go back to the calculator, hit clear, and we're going to do 90 and 6 zeros divided by, parentheses, 4.5 exponent 12 and we get this tiny number. It's going to be 0.00002 miles. Now that number doesn't make much sense, so I said convert that to inches. So we're going to take 0.00002 miles and convert it to inches like this. Convert 0.0002 miles to inches. Uh-oh, I left one of the zeros out. There we go. And it's 1.2 inches. So in our model, the Earth is going to be 1.2 inches from that grain of salt. Okay, so you're going to be doing that for other planets. So just remember, find how far the planet is in miles and divide it by 4.5 E2, and that'll give you how big it is in our model. Okay, cool.